Hi everyone, it's Peter from Pssound, and this video is not exactly what you were expecting and what I was hoping to share with you, because the previous video on YouTube you could see that it was a short little video to show you where we were located in Salzburg at the EMA European Finals last week. And just like the year before, I was hoping to have the time to walk around and show at least our cars from the UK, or at least the Pssound cars that we delivered to Salzburg. It's just one of those things that only those people understand what's happening there who have been there. They can see how busy it is. Especially this year we had even more cars. We took 6 cars altogether to Salzburg from the UK, from Team Pssound. And of course we had, I don't know, probably like 15 really good cars from the UK coming. As soon as the competition started, I had no chance. I lost focus because I had to focus on the guys, on all the cars, because we had installation judges, we had sound judges coming, and some of the cars were in multiple classes as well. So unfortunately now you are not going to see me walking around in Salzburg and showing the builds, but don't worry, stay with us. In this video actually I can explain you more how those cars managed to do so well. I will drop in pictures and short little videos to show you which cars we are talking about. And to be fair, most of the cars have been showed on YouTube and you have been able to follow the progress of those cars. So it's not like the cars I'm going to show you are completely new to you. There was only one car in Salzburg that we haven't shared publicly on YouTube, but we will talk about that in a second. So let's run through Pssound cars in Salzburg in 2024. We have to start with the lowest class where we entered the car, which was Tony's Ford Focus ST500. So the ST500 had a couple of videos on YouTube. You could see the progress of that. We built it roughly in like a year and a half in small stages. And unfortunately, we didn't manage to finish it to the standard that we wanted. Just so many of you understand where the car was in Salzburg, it was one of those things that Tony knew exactly what type of systems we built for competition. And he bought the car hoping that he would be able to let us do all the things that we usually do for competition to achieve the best results for sound quality. And unfortunately, when he bought the car, we couldn't do any of those things. He brought the ST500 Focus to us and we looked at it, and he was pretty positive that we could do mid-bass in the kicks, solid mounting, great location. We would be able to do proper large format mid-range on the dash. Again, we could not do that. And when we started the project a year and a half ago, we had that really sad situation that we looked at the car that you can only tell when you start pulling things apart. And I told to him that it's not that it's impossible to do these things when it comes to speaker installation, but the budget would have been so extortionate to do it right that he wasn't one of those customers who could just give us a big blank check and just do whatever we want. So we had to be conscious of the budget, and instead of that we built a great daily sound quality systems. So we ended up with mids and tweets on the pillar. Of course, on driver side we had to put the mid-range very off axis because we had to stay within the 4 centimeter rule. In ammo we have that rule that from the black dots on the windscreen we only have 40 millimeter how far we can go with the speakers blocking the view, otherwise you get deduction on installation, and it's not good to compete when you already have deduction on the installation because that can cost you positions. So like a daily car, mid and tweet on the pillar, mid bass in the door, that I was never happy with, and that was the part that we wanted to redo, and we wanted to do enclosures for the doors. But before we could have done that, Tony had changes in his life and he had to realize that he just can't keep that car for many different reasons. So actually now the car after the Eurofinals is up for sale. If anybody would want an amazing limited edition Ford Focus with a Pssound system, then this is your chance now to potentially jump on it if you're in the UK. I don't think anybody would want to import that car into another country from the UK unless you have a right-hand driven country. Possibly it could be way cheaper to do that than to build a system like this, because we easily put like 300 hours into that car so far. And simple system, 3-way up front with an additional 10-inch front sub, and a 12-inch sub at the back with a beautiful boot design. So it wasn't quite built the way, as I said, we would do it. And guess what? The car that won Entry Unlimited had exactly all those things done to it. Mid-bass in the kicks, mid-range on the dash, tweeter close to it on the pillars, front sub, all these fancy things. And of course, if somebody understands how to tune a system pretty well, then that just comes so much easier when the installation is done the right way, you know, at the beginning. And Tony still did well in the class. We achieved a 5th place out of 18 cars. I think they had one of the biggest classes. So out of 18 cars, he came 5th, and that was only 5-point difference between him and the first car. So it wasn't a huge difference. How much more a car would score with more solid mid-bass installation and better speaker locations, that's questionable. However, Tony's car never had high-end equipment. He had very affordable amplifiers, mid-category amplifiers with mid-category speakers, nothing expensive compared to what the first car had. He had way more expensive gear in it. Moscone amps, which are, to be fair, not that much more expensive than Tony had, but he had proper micro precision mids and tweeters, micro precision 7 series in the kicks in true IB. Alex is from Romania. You might even watch this video, and he did an amazing job. They transformed that car in a couple of months for the Euro finals, and of course he got plenty of inspiration from Pssound installation methods. And I even met him last summer. I saw his car. It was nowhere. He had a passive system in it, a very simple passive system, and he did everything the right way with his installer, and the results were there. They were great. But for us, with Tony's car, it was even more amazing that people could see it on the stag stand. Last minute, it ended up on the stag stand, and so many people could listen to it. And hardly anybody was interested in the EMA content because it's pretty technical, and quite frankly, it's a bit boring. It's not the type of content you're gonna get shivers from, and that will make your mind blown, you know. But on the daily demos, he was smashing it. So many people went to his cars, even judges, they wanted to hear it. And that's a system that demonstrated perfectly that a simple daily system can still sound amazing, beyond amazing. So that was our entry-level car in Tony's car. On to the next one. The next one was in Skilled OEM. Skilled OEM is one class above entry. Skilled is like an advanced class where people have more experience, and that's the first competition line level where we have OEM class. In entry we don't have an OEM class, but in Skilled we have the OEM class where all the speakers up front have to be installed in OEM locations. And this is the car that haven't been shared on YouTube or publicly anywhere really yet. We built it last summer, mid-season, and he competed a couple of rounds, and he managed to qualify for the Euro finals. And we wanted a car, John, the owner, wanted a car that could have an awesome system in it, installed efficiently, and could also be turned back to factory state when a company car like his, which is a leased car, could be given back without any sign of installation. So we went with the Mercedes GLC, which is an amazing platform for OEM. We had the Helix CI7 range three-way system in it, the tweeters, plug and play in factory location. So now I show a picture, you won't really be able to tell much because it's behind the factory trim panel. The mid-range, same way, behind factory mid-range location, 4-inch mids. And then the 8-inch drivers needed a slight custom job to fit them in the factory OEM location. Plus, at the back, you're allowed to do whatever you want. It doesn't have to look OEM, but we built a car that looked pretty practical and OEM other than the sub box. All the amplifiers were fitted underneath the floor. And his car equally did an amazing job. He came second. He became vice champion in the class. And those people who heard it, it was right next to mine. Same platform, Mercedes platform, where in my S-Class we had very expensive equipment. In his, we had a plug-and-play upgrade with moderate level equipment in it. We had Helix P6 Ultimate running mid-bass and rear fill. Then that was a DSP giving signal for an additional Helix C4 amplifier running the mid and tweet. And he had a P1 running the subs at the back. That's it. That simple, very practical layout. And this system can be moved from this car to another one later on when he wants to buy something else, because the speakers can have different mounting frames to different cars, so he can keep the speakers, not like the old school type plug and play upgrades like to Mercedes you couldn't use in a BMW or vice versa. So this car did impress many people, and quite a few people were surprised that this car was actually doing better. I'm sorry, but it was doing better than the CI7 range speakers demonstrated on Audiowave Fixtures stand. But that's an amazing thing. And it just shows that other competitors or installers, shops can deliver amazing results with these speakers, and they do perform well, quite frankly. So John's car was amazing. Hopefully we will have a bit of content of it once we are back in UK, and we can go to deeper detail into what we did in it, and you will be able to hear this car during the UK season because he's going to carry on competing. So that's John's car, and then we move up to Skilled Unlimited. So Skilled Unlimited is the class where you have no limitation on the equipment, but you are not in master class yet, you are one below. So this is where two of those cars competed that we had last year in Entry Unlimited, and these two cars placed the same score last year at the Eurofinals. They both have the same score, and technically they became both champions, but they had to make a decision who's going to win, whether it was Kebla's Amarok, Volkswagen Amarok, the blue Amarok you've seen many videos of, where we literally cut everything out in the car. We made true IB subs, we made true IB upfront sub, we made true IB mid bass. Yeah, that car had no limitation on the installation. Last year he became second with the same score as Mark with his Skoda Superb, which was not built by us, it was built by one of our competitors, Pssound competitors. Steve built the car, did an amazing job. Even last year we only helped them with inspiration, advice, how to do things, and then of course with the tuning. And Mark's car became the champion in Entry Unlimited last year. This year they were up against each other again the whole season. Mark went through so many changes with his car that during the season he wasn't doing so well. The car has always been great, but too many changes, and he still managed to get a wild card for the Eurofinals. He still did amazingly. The only problem with Mark's car happened that those people who compete, they know that the technical tracks can create problems for a couple of competitors when we have positional tracks. And sometimes if the judges don't agree where especially the left center and the right center falls in a car, then after that everything else is affected. The judges start with the technical tracks, and then they have the musical tracks. Then they judge tonal accuracy on high frequency range, mid-range, lower mid-range, and then bass. And then they have spectral balance, listening pleasure, what's not. If the judging process was the other way around, if the judges started with the musical tracks, you could still have amazing scoring cars, very great cars on listening pleasure, even if they may find those cars not so accurate on positions. But once they start with positions, if they don't agree with the positions, then that's going to affect the rest of the scoring sheet, because they will say that, hey, if these positions are so off, potentially, then the speakers are not aligned correctly, and that's going to affect the tonal accuracy too, because they won't put that car into the top scoring tonal accuracy category. They won't say that, you know, this car is going to get, you know, points out of 30. We have 30 for tonal accuracy, that those cars will score between 25 and 27, or potentially in the top tier 28 and above, which is rare. They will say, okay, this car is not between 25 27, this is between 22 24 in a lower class, because the positions were not so accurate, which I don't agree with, because yes, maybe in Mark's car left center and right center were pulling a bit further out than where judges would like to hear the positions coming from, but it was still an accurate car. If you listen to daily music, everything is so well separated on the stage in his car, between center and the far ends, so left center, right center. The instruments are still very visual, three-dimensional. This time they didn't agree with it. Last year he was a champion, now he became 13 out of 17. What can we do about it? Nothing really. Sometimes that's why people say that you have to have a bit of a luck too. This time we did not have luck with that car. but he was on par with the Amarok still, just like last year. And that's when Mark was called out 13, we thought, shit, maybe the Amarok is not going to do so well either. Well, not quite, because the Amarok became European champion this time in a higher class, and out of 17 cars, the Amarok managed to become champion, and that's exactly why we were working so hard on that car. We did everything to get that car perform as much as possible. Don't buy a pickup, please. If you want to build an amazing sound quality system, don't buy a pickup. It's a horrible cabin size, and the speaker locations where you can put speakers is not ideal. It requires so much work, and we still carried on. We pushed it. I guess at some point, you know, the owner realized that I'm too far in, I can't go back. We just have to carry on and just do more work, and we did. And in 2 years we built an absolute sound quality monster from that car that can still provide plenty of fun, and he won. It was an amazing achievement, honestly. We just proved the point again that installation is everything. It's everything. And those people who heard that car could tell that it's truly doing something special, something different. From that platform, there's not much more we can get, honestly. We have cars that do certain aspects of a system better in certain ways, but getting such result in a pickup van, I want to be inspired by somebody who builds technically a more correct system than what we achieved in that. So Kebla's car went through a lot. From the latest video we shared a few months ago, you could see we fitted air motion tweeters from Mundorf that we use these days a lot, and hopefully soon next month I can have a big announcement regarding that. But we had AMTs in that, we had mids on the dash, dual 6.5s in true IB in the kicks from Micro Precision. We had acoustic elegance 12-inch up front in true IB, and we had two 18s. Now we put the acoustic elegance back for competition. We had those in IB at the back of the back wall. So overall that car just turned into something quite remarkable, and it was definitely a great achievement for all of us. And especially winning in a big class out of 17 cars, that's no joke. When you have, you know, 2, 3, 5 cars in a class, it's much easier. But 17, one thing people have to understand when it comes to Eurofinals compared to potentially other global formats is that our finals in Europe is so much tougher because you get the best of the best from each country. You can only go to Eurofinals if you place in the first 2 places in your own class nationally. If you win your class nationally, you become the champion, you go to Eurofinals straight away, and I think the second car can also qualify. But otherwise you can't just turn up with a very simple, you know, car that you hardly competed with. That can happen in some of the countries, not here. At Eurofinals you get the best of the best competing against each other. That's why winning Eurofinals, I think it has such a bigger reputation. If you can win in Salzburg, then you definitely do something well. And yeah, again, super happy with Kebla. Such an amazing achievement with his car. Also in entry and skilled categories, some of the cars that won, I know the guys, it was amazing to see that the level of installation definitely moved forward and it improved. And so many cars had similar ways of installing, especially mid-bass and subs, the way we do and what we shared throughout the years. We saw the influence, and that was so great. So great. Like Torsten from Denmark won entry 3000 last year and won skilled 4,000 euro class this year. And he had the same installation style I always preach about to achieve amazing results. And he did again. And that was amazing. Even I think in entry 3000, one of the cars I heard at the party on Friday evening, from Sweden or Finland, I'm not sure, up north, Scandinavian country. Sorry, if you're watching this, please comment. And he had an amazing installation in a Chevrolet, whatever way you pronounce. that car in a saloon car, and he had a two-way up front in a very unusual way. 6.5-inch mid bass in the kicks, but very on axis, facing the listener. So you had to be careful of where you put your legs, especially on competition, and tweeters on the pillar. That's it, two-way up front. And he had a 12-inch ARC audio sub on the shelf in trunk IB, and it worked. It worked amazingly, and he won as well. That was a huge achievement for those guys, because that's not your usual type of installation. Stage was still pretty high, even if the mid bass was down low. I could tell that the guys understood how to tune. It did amazing for what it was in that low class. So again, both of those cars in other categories lower down showed that installation is everything. That's exactly why I go everywhere, and we share all of our work, we demo our cars, so people can experience the difference. So on to master classes. In master classes, we should start with Eddie. Eddie's Citroen. Again, we had so many videos of his car, and even a couple of months ago we shared his Citroen and we called it something stupid, just to have, you know, just to poke the internet a little bit, and we called it the best sounding Citroen in the world, which may be true, to be fair. So he was again in Master Limited, his last year and his last chance to compete in Master Limited. Because in that class we have the limitation that you can only compete for maximum of 2 years. Last year he didn't win the national championship and he didn't win at the Euros, so he could stay in the class to carry on competing it. But now this was his last year. After this he will have to move out of this class. Hopefully we will fit into a master price limited category if he wants to carry on competing. And Eddie's car, as you could see, was the example of using moderate level equipment, but no limitation on installation. We had no limitation on the installation, and Eddie's car is insane, honestly. When people hear a system like that, where the front end doesn't show, I mean, you don't see anything super expensive. I think roughly he had around $7,000. Now I say it in dollar because that's probably a more universal currency, American dollar. Roughly 6,000-7,000 retail price in the equipment. Because his AMTs, he has the Mundorf AMT 80s, not mega money. His mid-range is dirt cheap. Those people who sat in his car and they heard the performance of those Fostex 5-inch wideband mids in his car, that we don't use wideband, I can share you that much, but they are dirt cheap. Eddie wanted to use them from day one when we started the project with him. His hybrid audio L8 V2 mid-bass drivers are not expensive either. Now we have an Allianti as a front sub that does a bit more extra work to get the upfront bass more anchored to the front. Okay, that's not a cheap speaker. It wasn't a cheap speaker back in the day, but you could have probably pretty much anything to do a good upfront performance, way cheaper. And at the back he has acoustic elegant subs, which are not crazy money, especially in the US. Zapco AP 6-channel amp, Helix M-range mono amps for front sub and rear sub, and a Helix DSP Pro Mark III. It's nothing ultra expensive, and he was only a few points away from the first car that won his class, that had like 50,000 or 60,000 euros spent on it, or euros or pounds or dollars. Yeah, shitloads of money in very expensive amplifiers. Sorry, expensive amps, expensive speakers, DSP cables. Insane. Of course, at some point you can hear the difference. You can hear the difference when you have more expensive gear. I don't know what to compare it to. Sometimes I come up with these stupid analogies, whether we compare it to food. But yes, you can certainly cook a better dish from better ingredients, more expensive material, just like in car performance. At some point you throw more and more money on car performance, it will perform. Of course, you need a person who can install it and tune it well, and it will show. So there's only so far you can go with cheaper equipment. Yes, we can still show what you can do and how amazingly you can do, but at some point, of course, there's better. But how much more do you have to spend on that? When people talk about diminishing returns, right? that's when people will struggle to justify if it's worth spending so much more money. That's when you're like, Pete, is it worth it to buy this amp? Is it worth to buy that speaker? And many guys who know me, I'm sure many of you can now comment that, yeah, Pete is the one who always tells us, nope, screw that. You're not buying that. You're not upgrading that. No, you don't do this. You don't do that. I'm not the guy who keeps pushing people to spend more and more and more. I'm the opposite. If it's worth spending on something, we do. If it's not worth spending because you won't even hear any difference or hardly anything, there's no point to spend so much more money on it. And this car is just doing that. It shows how well it's performing from what he has in a car that has a completely different approach when it comes to, you know, presenting a stage to you. His dashboard is another 1.5 feet further away than any other car, and it's quite something to experience the performance in his car. So yeah, Eddie did amazing again, and he was smashing demos. Yeah, we did crazy with that car again in Salzburg. Then we get into my car I'm sitting in. A few weeks ago I shared a long video, and the feedback I got from you guys was just amazing. So many people commented, so many views. It's insane. It's insane. I kind of expected that, because yes, what we did in this S-Class is not an everyday effort. And the car delivered not an everyday result. We could see it because I took it to Germany as well during the season. Last year, we took it to 2 competitions. And as I mentioned in the previous video, many people were shocked how good the car was doing. Even in Germany, the car scored higher than cars in fully custom classes. And that's pretty much what happened again. There you go. That is coming out. Some of you may remember this scene. This is where I shot a video many years ago with him when I delivered the brown Honda, the 10-day SQ install. Some of you remember. I delivered that car to him. He still has it. Yeah, it's still in the garage behind me, because we managed to have a small break and we came to see them in Hungary. And yeah, then we go back to UK, but we are too close from Austria to Hungary, so we couldn't skip. We couldn't skip seeing them. So S-Class. So yes, S-Class showed that it just does something stupid. I'm sorry, but I can't put it into words what the S-Class was doing. This is when you really have to help me, guys. I shared pictures of our results on Facebook already. And I asked everybody to share pictures or comments or anything, so I can tell who sat in the car, what experience you had. Because we had so many people queuing up. It felt like it was like in school when you queue up for lunch in the canteen. And some people waited there hours just to get 15-20 minutes, couple of songs in the car. And it was amazing. Yes, I was knackered. I was super tired, but I was pushing it because I know what I would feel to sit in this car if I was them. When I was young, if I could sit in a properly built car, you know, it was amazing. Even if I could just listen to 2 songs, it was mind-blowing. Some guys traveled to Salzburg just because I mentioned to them on YouTube that we had this event coming up. And some of the guys flew over from New York. One of the guys flew over with his girlfriend. And I was like, yeah, I can tell you're not from here. Where did you come from? He's like, yeah, I flew from New York just because you told it, Pete. I'm like, wow. He heard the car after watching dozens of videos. Even his missus knew who I was. Like, yep, I recognize that voice. And he couldn't explain what he was feeling in the car, but he did not need to. It was so emotional to see somebody. I don't know. You can call him happy, but many people mention it's not fair that everybody's waiting for my car and me, because there are so many great sounding cars. but yet they want to spend time with me and hear my car. And we had to figure it out. It's just simply because after you watch Pssound content online, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or our Patreon channel, this is the only way to have a real world connection. When you get validation, when people can tell that everything we share is not made up. It's not just bullshit marketing. It's the real world. It's the reality. If I say something is great, it is great. If I say that mid-bass in the kicks in an enclosure or in IB is amazing, it is amazing. If I say that trunk IB, true IB is amazing, it is. Or if I say this doesn't work or that doesn't work, it doesn't work. But how can people put meaning to it without experiencing it? And that's when you see people coming to these big events and you see them spend a bit of time in your car and you can see the emotions on their faces. You can see how deeply satisfied they become when they can experience it. And that's truly like a lifelong, never forgettable moment. And this is exactly why we go to Salzburg other than competing. Competition is just the wrapping. But ultimately it's about sharing our passion, showing what we do, what our cars are like, and what people can get themselves. And so many people who sat in this S-Class could tell that competition is one thing. Yes, the S-Class became European champion in Master OEM, and it became vice champion in multimedia, which was probably the last year for this class, in multimedia 2.1, when we have a screen as well in the car and we have to create like a cinema experience, black the whole car out, judges getting like into a cinema. So the car did amazingly, but what it did even more amazing is the demos. I'm sorry, I may push the EMA guys, and even if some of the EMA guys, the big organizers, owners, watch this video, I don't know, or if anybody sends this part of the video to them, guys, one thing we have to add, especially at the Eurofinals, we have to have a best of show award. That's going to push people towards going beyond what's required for EMA. I'm sorry, but EMA judging at 85 dB level will only ever push people to make systems that can do that. But there's so much more beyond that. When you listen to a saxophone, it's not going to be realistic at 85 dB. You have to turn it up. It has to have real size. When you play a drum solo and you have a bass guitar coming in, a live band, it has to sound lifelike at live level. And systems have to be able to deliver it. And many cars don't do that. No, they are not pleasant when you turn them up. They fall apart. The spectral balance just becomes different, speakers start to scream, struggle, distort, the installation is poor, things are falling apart, but that does not show at 85 dB. What shows is when people listen to our cars at Pssound, and that's why we get the cues, and that's why we get the crowd, because we play at 85 dB to start with. We play, jazz, really good recordings, acoustical music, and then of course we go towards other music genres and we play the systems at proper levels as well. And I was demonstrating things to people in my car where I showed the system without running the rear sub. I showed to them what it means to have a solid mid-bass installation when the front end can have more kick and punch from up front than some cars, even with a subwoofer at the back. And that was super valuable when you saw people's reactions going, yeah. Those of you who were in the car, please comment, just write it down so the others can believe it, that these things are not made up. I'm not making it up. That's why I'm happy to take the car anywhere when I have the possibility. Yeah, I'm going down to Italy as well on the 1st of June. We will have a huge meeting in Italy. I will have to try to give a link to that. But yeah, people have to experience it, what it's like. Then they understand the importance of solid mid-bass installation in a good location. And of course, when I introduce the rear sub, I add it to the system. It blends in. It doesn't draw attention, but it just does exactly what the front end cannot do, and it blends in seamlessly, and it plays super effortlessly, especially with the 15 at the back of this car in true IB. and that delivers a performance that most people have never experienced. Then of course the car also has more to it than just that, than what's required for competition. I was demonstrating to people what it's like to have differential rear feel, how it can add a more realistic space sensation, how it can create more ambience and more lifelike room size in a car. And I was showing to them, some of you who sat in the car, I was showing that now we are running with rear feel because it's playing in the back. And I just moved my hand to the front when I turn it down, because I have a controller where I can turn it up and down easily. And then people could experience what it's like when the front end plays on its own. And everyone was like, whoa. Yeah, that's what everybody is used to. For competition, you don't need anything more than left and right at the front. But for daily listening, I never listen to music without the differential rear feel. It's not as enjoyable. And nobody complained so far where we installed differential rear feel that they didn't like it. And people could experience it. People could hear what it's like when you have just front end or you have multiple speakers in a space to create more room information. I also demonstrated to people what it's like to have the physical front center speaker, because I have a center speaker in the S-Class and I could turn it up and down. And I was showing it to them what it's like when the center fill is off or when it's on. I was just raising my hand, and that's exactly what's happening acoustically, because the center speaker is higher up on the dash than the left and right speakers in the doors, and that reflects against the windscreen and it just lifts the whole center image like another 5-6 inches up. You know, it gets presented in front of you way higher, and then people could hear what it's like on off, and then they were like, whoa. Yeah, exactly. That's what you have to experience. And that's one of the reasons why I would love the judges and the owners of EMA to have a best of show award, because that would mean more than anything. Not because I think that this car would win, but it would have a good chance. And then that would also push everybody else to do more and to do better, to demo the cars differently, show more angles of a system to the people on the show. Because ultimately that takes the industry forward, that takes everybody forward, not just the enthusiasts and the DIYers, but also the shops. And we can raise the bar. So yeah, S-Class definitely delivered amazingly, and we were smashing it for 3 days non-stop. The car wasn't happy, because turning the car on and off all the time, especially for competition as well, was not simple, because these new cars just want to go to sleep. That's why I have a dead switch, kill switch in the car, where I can turn the system on and off. So even if the car is off, I can carry on playing music with my digital audio player. But yes, I think we did an amazing job showing all the Pssound cars to people, and we got great results. One thing was funny, funny not funny. There's somebody who is pretty problematic in his mind. The last few days, somebody started to comment on my own Facebook page and on other Facebook groups where other competitors also shared their results. And somebody started to comment that, oh yeah, the reality is what nobody talks about, that these cars only win because they pay for it. And I'm like, what? That's just so sad that some people think that that's how it works. And he was like, oh, how much did you pay for it, Pete? And I told him how much I paid to win. I told to him, we paid hundreds and hundreds of hours on installation. That's what we paid for it. That's what the customers paid for it. That's what the installers paid for it. We spent so much fucking time to deliver these cars at this level. And that's why they do so well. And all those people who heard these cars can share the same opinion, that these cars do so well because they are built solid, with experience, with knowledge. And then the cars are tuned by people who understand physics, who understand the properties of the acoustics of an interior, and they know how to work around it, how to show the good things, how to hide the bad things in a system. That's how we win at Eurofinals, not because we pay the judges. What? It's crazy. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work anywhere. That's why they have multiple judges as well. It's not a box game. It's not a box match on the TV. That's entertainment. That's bullshit. This is the real world. Come to a show, hear these cars, you can tell it to yourself, for yourself, what these cars are like, and then you will hear it. Not everybody is capable to deliver systems at this level. I mean, I'm working on it. I'm training people globally. We had an amazing training class in the Alps before the competition, and we had 3 guys, 2 from Germany, 1 from India, who completed the master class. And the more people we train, the more people can raise the bar, can pull the industry further up. And it's a slow progress, but it is a progress, and I can see it. As I mentioned, I can see it on so many cars that they are built better. So many people have out of the box mindset, and they look at installation differently, and it shows. It definitely shows. Like in expert class, we didn't have an expert category car from Pssound. I'm not even really interested in building cars where installation is more important. I mean, we still build everything super solid, but in expert class in Salzburg, you could see cars which had moving parts, like mid-range installation moving on the dash, subbox moving at the back, and then you have covers, remote controlled, and you have cars at that level where installation is almost more important than anything. We had 2 cars in expert limited, Nigel with his BMW and M from Blade Ice, and those guys equally spend a lot of time to really focus on the installation, and they did great. They scored great, the cars were great. But of course, in those classes, sometimes those cars win who go like beyond sanity, and those cars are just insane. Some of the installations are mad. Or like Daniel from Sweden, we have a guy, some of you know, with his Mini. He was on the DLS stand. Daniel have been following Pssound content, have been following us on Patreon, and he has used so much of the little tips and tricks and whatnot we shared, and he did amazing. That guy, we will talk about him at another time in a bit more detail, but his car is stupid. He built it in snow and mud and crap and cold, and I don't know. Seeing people like him building cars within those conditions is inspiring. And then you see their result. They show what they did. Then you see the car and you're just like, what? How did you do that? It's insane. You see the finish, and it's beyond expert level cars built in shops. It's just mad to see that happen in real life. And again, the bar is definitely getting higher and higher, and that's why I think there's no better place to see car audio presented in a more versatile and higher level than the Eurofinals in Salzburg. Far East, the cars are also at crazy levels. They do amazing installation, and if anything, Far East people have way better budgets to build systems with amazing equipment. But if anything, I'm not seeing yet from Far East where they focus more on the installation. Until I see, pods on the pillars and then quick builds and mid-bass indoor with fancy lights around it, I'm sorry, it's not good enough. If you are one of those watching from the Far East, then that's my opinion. And then you may say, Pete, it's bullshit. But I let everybody judge. We had many people from the Far East, from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam. We had many people from over there, and they can tell the difference when they hear cars with an installation on a higher level, and it shows. It does show, and I want to see that happen Far East as well, that the installers put more effort into installation than just making things pretty and selling more products. Having said that, I'm sure the cars sound amazing over there too, but certain things cannot be achieved without better installation. So I think that's pretty much we can take away from this video as well. Still emphasizing the importance of installation, and of course you could see some of our cars and a bit of explanation about how these projects happened. And I hope more and more of you can experience this. As I said, 1st of June we have a big meeting down in Italy, close to Milan. Some of you, if you want to fly in, I can help with the details how you can get there. That's how I came across this meeting as well last year, when the guys from Italy invited me. And they just told me, Pete, if you have time, come down, you have to experience this. This is a one-off type event once a year. It's not a competition, it's a friendly meeting. You have food all day, Italian food, amazing cuisine. They really treat you like it's a huge family. Just you have 300 people, but I just called it the car audio wedding. Literally, it was so good. They had live music in the evening. They had giveaways at the end of the day that they were collecting money for charity. They gave the money away for charitable cause, and it's just an amazing event. So I can recommend everybody to try to make it, especially if you can drive there. I'm gonna go down with the car as well. I will have a long journey going down to Italy. I will go to Germany. I will visit a few manufacturers, so we will have content. You will see a few amazing manufacturers from Germany. And on the way, I will stop here and there because I have to tune a few cars too. So that's worth to keep in mind for some of you, that if I'm driving through Europe, then I can squeeze in a day when I can tune a couple of cars if you need help with it. Also in UK, we have competitions coming up. I will have to put dates of the competition into the description. So check description and you can see the competitions coming up in UK. Peter talked for 47 minutes again. Oh my God. I'm crazy. But yeah, this whole thing wouldn't work without passion, and those who were in Salzburg, they could tell that we love doing this shit. Simple as that. We are in it for life. Many people are in it for life. Some people come and go. They do it for just the win or for fun, or I don't know. But some people are in this game for life. Just like, it's worth to mention right at the end of the video, because I don't know if Lee from Platinum will have a chance to share a video from his experience from the Eurofinals, but I want to mention it, that he came back after so many years, like 5-6 years. He did not compete in Salzburg because he had personal life problems. We had COVID that, you know, pulled several years out of competition, and now he managed to come back in Master 5000 class. And the first 3 cars were announced as the third and the second place only had like half a point between them, so that was really tight. But the first guy was like, I don't know, an extra maybe 10 points. Don't quote me on that, but that was a huge difference between the second and the first car. And when there were only 3 guys standing on stage out of, he had a big class as well, 13, 15 cars, I think, quite many. He can comment on this if he's watching it. And he won it. He won it with many points ahead of even the second car. And he proved the point again, the same way. Fuck me, how many times do I have to mention it in this video? He proved the point of proper installation, because he had a very unusual system layout. Not many people do. He had 6.5-inch mids on the dash, tweeters close to it, and an upfront sub with a rear sub. So there was no dedicated mid-bass down there in the door, on the kicks or anywhere. He managed to pull the system together with a pair of 6.5s up high with a single front sub, and he scored well. He did well. Everybody said that his car was amazing, and unfortunately it's the last time for that car. So it was a big achievement for him that finally, also it was the last year for this class, because Master 5000 is going to change now to Master 8000. They raised the price limitation on it, so people will have more money to spend on systems. But it's always more, you know, remarkable to achieve results when the price limitation is lower. You have to show what you can do from less money, and you can still have high-end experience and amazing systems for competition too. And he did that. So for him to come back after so many years and show it, that was something. So he was another champion from UK. I think we had 4 champions from UK, because we also had Sandra in tuning category, where it's about not just sound, but it's also about the performance of the car, doing all the tuning upgrades on the car and everything. She went all out, and she competed for many years in this class now. She always did well in it, but this time they managed it. And again, Team UK was quite something. We took 10 trophies altogether, out of which 5 was us, Team Pssound, out of 6 cars we took. And I can just wish for everybody to experience this one day, to come along, see these cars, hear these cars, and see what car audio is about, really. So I'm going to cut it here. It's crazy. It's a crazy long video again. Hopefully you are still with me. And as I mentioned, check description. You will see the meetings, the dates for the UK competition rounds. The one meeting on the 4th of May coming up now in the UK, and also the 1st of June in Italy. I will share some information about that, so you can search for it on the internet if you want to come around and join the event. Although over there you have to show interest to come. It's not really open for the public. They have to know that you're coming. They have to know how many people they have to prepare for, because when it comes to lunch, dinner, whatnot, yeah, it's quite difficult to arrange that because we are in the middle of nowhere on the event. But yeah, it's worth to check it out. Cool. I'm gonna go. It's a long enough video. Hopefully you liked it, guys. Comment, as I mentioned, especially if you heard our cars in Salzburg, please comment, and feel free to share all of our videos. Spread the word of car audio, sound quality especially, spread the word of Pssound, share all the videos, do everything so people can have a better idea about what is all, you know, this madness about. But yeah, hopefully I will see you soon. Yeah, I have to share information about the masterclass in a separate video. That's going to come shortly. And I will, yeah, see you soon, hopefully. Take care.